If you look like any pencil you used in middle school you found in the hallway, I am so obsessed with you. You know, like the kind of guy who like would text you and be like, hey, Addis, like, you know, do you have the chemistry notes? And I'm like, oh my God, Brandon, you didn't take notes? Haha, like, that's crazy. Yeah, I've got the notes. Do you want to like meet up in study hall and like we can like go over it together? Cool, yeah. That is that is like the making of like a Wattpad story I could have written in high school.
You were just looking for a man who misuses there, and there.
Yes, like a dude who cannot spell the word exercise is my type.
But first, a word from our sponsors.
Welcome to the Man-Whore Podcast.
Shout out to the studs, to the sluts, to the doms and the moms. This is Billy Procida, and you're listening to the Man-Whore Podcast. Sex-positive conversations. The most important keyword at the least important part of the title. Who came up with that idea? This week on the show, I have got on porn star, sex writer, the internet's most relatable whore, Addis Fouche. On the show this week, she's fucked over 500 people, and we're going to talk about at least a few of them in just a little bit. Reminder, I'm in Los Angeles right now, so I record this before I left, and I pre-upload this because I care about myself and my mental health. Give myself a break so I can enjoy my trip. Why are you singing right now? Is it because you don't know what to say or do with all this free space? Or because we're anxiously waiting till we can masturbate? The Naked Comedy shows, they are back next week, July 18th. We have 7 o'clock and 9 o'clock shows. Still at the Hacienda. Still incredible, hilarious, naked stand-up comedians. Still clothing optional in the audience. We're just on a brand new day at a brand new, more affordable price. Ticket link at the top of the schnotes. Bring your friends. Bring a friend. I think it's a great date. Use promo code NOFEES to get $5 off, and that like eliminates the fees. You ever just feel impatient because you really have to poop? This week's fan whore appreciation moment goes to Eric, who is a tattooed bastard making quite the introduction for himself in our fan communities, the Champagne Room, as well as the Peep Show. Oh, you don't know about the Peep Show? The Peep Show, it's just a group chat where my top tier Patreon members share gifts, nudes, and compliments with each other every day. Become a member today, support the pod you love, join private fan communities on Discord and Telegram at patreon.com/manwhorepodcast. That's Patreon, patreon.com/manwhorepodcast. Sign up for an annual membership in the month of July and receive 2 months for free. We're flying right through this thing because I got nothing to share right now. I hope the gig was good on the 4th, and I hope my balls are continuously emptied on this trip. I hope I didn't bomb at a couple of those spots here in LA. That would have been embarrassing. I don't want to bomb in front of Adam Hunter. He's a nice man. And I hope I got a couple of runs in. Like, I hope I was also physically active and exercising and shit. But yeah, that's all I got. I don't have anything to say. For now, I know that I have on Addis Fouche. She does porn. She writes about sex. She hosts panels of sex workers for live events. She is, and she's also a fellow boarding school brat. We definitely connected on that one. I almost went to the boarding school that she went to, and we ran the same events in track and field, the 1500 and the 3000. I bet you didn't know your whore boy was a distance runner, did you? Yes, with this ass, with this donk of mine, I moved somewhat quickly. Addis Fouche also has a bonus episode coming out tomorrow exclusively on Patreon about how she set up her OnlyFans and some of her preferences around shooting content. She is a firecracker of energy, and boy does she fuck. Let's pay a few bills and then chat with Addis Fouche. Enjoy ad-free episodes at patreon.com/manwhorepodcast.
Maybe I'll host an event with like all the people I fucked. It's just me and like 500 men.
The great reunion.
Yeah, yeah. I sometimes think about like if there was a big ass elevator and all of the men that I fucked were just in the elevator, they'd be like, what the fuck is in common with all of us? And I'd be like, almost nothing.
I mean, that sounds like the beginning of a porno.
It does. I'd say my body count's probably about 500 by now, which is why like when you were like, oh.
Was that including PIV or is that including all things?
PIV, that's just it.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I think if you like add everybody in, it's a much higher number. But as you were saying that, I was like, I have literally so many people that I could bring on this podcast. Like literally this guy that I know from college, he dated one of my best friends. I did not fuck Luis, but his roommate we also went to college with, and there was one time freshman year where like I walked into his room because I wanted to borrow something, and he was just jacking off, and I was like, this is so hot. It was really hot, and so they lived together.
Wait, what happened?
Oh, we didn't fuck. We didn't fuck that time. Oh, we had already fucked by that point. So I was able to like express that I thought it was hot.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I was like, we had already fucked like twice at that point. So I was like, oh fuck yeah. But I definitely could ask Duncan to come on the show. I think he would do that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Who would be like your top 3 ex hookups to have on?
Ooh, okay.
And I mean like whether that's favorite because of how they are or because of the significance they were in your life.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, well, one I would have one of my NBA player clients. That would just be so stupid. Okay. That would just be really silly to have him on because he's massive. I would.
Okay. I obligatory have to ask if you'll share who it is. You'll say
no,
and then I'd be like, cool, but I had to.
Yeah, yes, job. Exactly. I'd also say this dude who had a pet snake in the dorm. We did anal when I was in college. That was one of the first times I did anal. I think it was like the second time I'd done anal, maybe. Definitely him, because it was like accidental anal, but I was like, oh, I'm so into this. Like,
as so much anal tends to be.
Yeah. I've had prepped anal. I've also had accidental anal. That was hot. And then I'd also...
Wait, the accidental anal was hot?
Yeah, it was actually.
And why was it hot?
I think just because I was like so into how weird he was, and he was really good at sex. So for a weirdo, he was really good at sex. And I was like, oh, and he's also like kind of hot. His name was, oh my God, what's his name? Nathan Yusuf. He was Middle Eastern American. So he's like from Boston, but like very much Middle Eastern features. Okay. And he was so cute, but he also had a fucking snake. And I don't know why he had that.
I mean, he had a real snake, or you like his dick was so big you're calling it a snake?
Both.
Oh, okay.
He actually had a snake in the dorm, like his pet snake. And I ended up fucking him. And then we did anal, and I was like, oh, okay. It's kind of hot.
What made him so good at sex?
He was just so excited about my pussy. And then eventually my asshole. So he was just really, not in a creepy way, but just like he was like ravaging me, and I was like, I love attention. And so it was just really fun. So
he's being enthusiastic. He's smiling.
Yes.
He's making noises.
Exactly. I love when guys like respond. Like there's been times like I have sex and they're very silent, and I like pause. I'm like, are you having fun? Like, are you like into this? Because like, why are you so fucking quiet? Like, give me a give me a moan. Give me a you know?
Yeah. I hear this from women. They'll be like happy that I'm moaning. They're, oh my God, guys are so quiet. I'm like, that's so fucking awkward to me.
It's really that would be awkward. I think a lot of times guys are trained to do it from porn, because like when you watch porn, like you're watching it for me, you're not watching it for the dude. So the man tends to be more silent in the scene. So that's probably what guys think they need to do, is be silent. I'm like, no. We're silent because you want us to be silent, you know? Yeah. So I'd say probably NBA player, Nathan, and who else would I have? There was this guy that I used to fuck who worked at Chobani, and I didn't know what his name was for 4 months that we were fucking. And at that point, it was just like too embarrassing to ask. So eventually once he sent an Uber for me, and I was like, Jimmy Neutron Brain Blast. Uber driver, what is his name? And the Uber driver was like, Kevin. And I was like, oh, thank God. So definitely Kevin.
You fucked him for months and didn't know his name?
No idea. Because the reason we met, because my friend that I was out at a bar with wanted to fuck his friend, and they were talking on Bumble, and he was like, oh, well, I'm with my friend right now. And she was like, I'm with my friend. And so they like just stuck us together, and then I ended up fucking him. So I really didn't like know him from the jump. And then we just started fucking, and I was like, well, no, it's too late to ask him what his name is.
And so why would you want to have him on this this podcast series?
Because his whole fridge was just full of Chobani.
Oh, because he worked at, okay.
Yeah, but they're like, he worked there, but like, why did he have so many? I don't know. But it was like any flavor I could imagine. I just kind of want to know, like, what's up with Chobani, dude?
I mean, it's like when you work corporate at like a job like that, you know, sometimes his job is just a job, but it sounds like for this man, working corporate at Chobani was the dream.
Oh, it was his lifestyle.
Yeah, because he thought, yeah, fuck a salary. Think of all the free Chobani.
Think of all the free yogurt, any flavor you want, fruit at the bottom. Ah, yes, he's moaning. So, yeah.
Okay. I support this hypothetical podcast series for you. As I welcome Addis Fouche. Is Fouche?
Fouche like touche, yes.
Yes, Fouche like touche. Welcome on the show.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah. I love to yap, so I'm happy to talk.
Yeah, no, I watched like 10 minutes of you on a podcast. Was like, I feel like I got an idea what an hour is.
Oh, yeah.
She's chatty. You also call yourself the most relatable whore on the
I
internet.
am today's most relatable whore. I am. Because I notice that a lot of times when I meet people, they're like, I've never met a sex worker before. It's so cool to meet one. I'm like, no, babe, you probably have, and you just like didn't know it. So I like make it very obvious that like I'm actually both a sex worker and a normal person, right? Like I run half marathons. I hang out with my friends. I have a personal style. Like I have a family, and you know, like not like my nuclear family, but like, you know, I have like a brother and like a mom and stuff, right? Like, you know, like I exist outside of the black and orange site.
Yeah, I read one of an article you wrote, and you said, you know, porn stars, we're like normal people. We go to Trader Joe's.
We do.
It's like, do people think there's some sort of like slutty market that y'all go to on the side?
Right. We only go to Erewhon because it's expensive. Our sugar daddies buy us the Hailey Bieber smoothie. I call myself a Trader Hoe.
Okay.
I love Trader Joe's. Like I follow a lot of the Trader Joe's accounts on Instagram so that I can know when the new products come out. I like am in multiple Trader Joe's Reddit groups. Actually, we talk about the items.
Meanwhile, I go to Trader Joe's 2 days ago. Do you know April Flores?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so April lives nearby, his friend, and so I'm her ride to go to Trader Joe's.
Wait, that's hot.
So we'll go to Trader Joe's, but no, she's in fear. I'm training her on how to shop for groceries because the first time I take her, I am through the thing in like 10 minutes.
Oh.
I know what I need. You go through an aisle. And when we leave the aisle, I'm done with the aisle.
Oh, she goes back?
I went through, did my things. I go through the line. I pay for my groceries. She's still like in the first or second row. And I'm sitting there for like 10 minutes watching her with an employee who had nothing to do. And I'm just like, watch my friend. She's going back and forth. We watched her go to dairy 3 times.
Oh, my God.
What are you doing?
Wait, I think I'm kind of a hybrid of you guys because I need to go through every single aisle in the grocery store, but I only go through it once.
And that's fine. No,
once.
that's fine. I told her, I was like, lady, you take your time.
Yes.
But when we leave produce, we're done with produce.
Agreed.
You can go back for a specific thing,
yes.
But she wants to go back to rebrowse.
Oh.
No.
So how long is she in the store for?
40 fucking minutes.
Oh, that's a really long time.
And I said, honey, I'm happy to drive you to but so we went 2 days ago. She did a little better. It was down to like 25 minutes.
Oh my God.
It's progress. Now we need to get her to make a list.
Make a list, yes.
She's like, I just don't know what I want. I was like, and that's why I came with a list.
Exactly.
To keep you on track.
I like to
don't
go to
got
the grocery
time
store
for this.
twice a week, actually. So this is my theory. Going twice a week is better than doing one big haul because I go on Mondays and Thursdays.
Okay.
So Mondays, because the grocery store workers told me that is the best day to go because everyone's already gone during the weekend rush right before, and that's when they restock the food for the next upcoming week. So all the food is fresh and nobody's there. Okay. Monday, set yourself up for the week, right? Thursday, that is what I base my groceries on, like with my like weekend plans, right? Like, am I going out a lot? If I'm going out a lot, you probably don't need that many groceries. If you're not going out a lot, if you're traveling, if you need snacks for the plane, this is how I do my grocery shopping. Because you know, like sometimes you like plan a week in advance and then you like want to do like a taco night or like a Mediterranean night, and then like the day comes and you're just not feeling hummus, and then unfortunately you have all this stuff, right? That doesn't happen to me anymore because I like think about what I want like 3-4 days in advance, so I actually eat everything.
I like the strategy. If Trader Joe's wasn't a 20-minute drive,
Oh yeah,
I would do that. Trader Joe's down the street.
But there's also certain grocery stores you can get certain things, right? Like, some stuff are Whole Foods items. Some things are Trader Joe's items. Some things, if you're in LA, are Erewhon items. And some stuff is just Aldi's.
Well, I can't get a Coke Zero at Trader Joe's. So I used to get my Coke Zero at a grocery store right there. And then it burned down.
Did you burn it down?
Not me personally.
Just had to ask.
I think the other grocery store, Pioneer, did. When I heard the news, I got a text from my roommate saying the grocery store across the street is on big fucking... did you not hear about this in Bushwick? It burned 5 buildings.
5?
It's a block away. It's on the corner, and then the fire spread to 2 apartment buildings this way, 2 this way. A bunch of people got displaced. It sucked. It was terrible. But initially, when I heard it was on fire, I was like, well played, Pioneers.
Well played. Eliminate the competition.
It was a newer, kind of nicer grocery store or whatever.
Oh, okay.
Someone was like, we are going to keep the rents down around here.
Honestly, I'm kind of here for that. I think there needs to be a little bit more danger in gentrified neighborhoods, Like when I grew up in Fort Greene in Brooklyn, when it was black and cool and it wasn't just interracial couples with strollers. And there, it actually used to, it used to be cool. There was a Golden Crust on Fulton Street. Can you believe that? And now it's a restaurant called fucking Broccoli City, where there's broccoli in every single item on the menu. Mm-hmm. Right. So there was this one crackhead who lived in the neighborhood. And my first Halloween costume when I was 2, I was a butterfly. Okay. And I was trick-or-treating with my mom. And she was like, Madam Butterfly, you think you're all that, don't you? And I think that we need more white girls getting scared into thinking that they're Madam Butterfly in their gentrified neighborhoods. I literally always say that, the sex workers, we always know when an economy crash is coming. We know. We can see it. We can smell it. We can feel it. Because you can just see, when dudes stop being reckless or when they're, more stingy. You can also just, tell when, the strip clubs will be empty, stuff like that. Or, the really, really rich guys who have too much power want more and more depraved things with their dominatrix because they just have too much power, so they need to offset it somehow.
I think somebody theorized that fin doming started to take off after the 2008 crisis because people maybe were starting to fetishize losing their money. And I was like, I like this theory.
Yeah.
I remember having the going rate was a $200 for an hour, and now it's $400 for an hour.
Yes.
I was like, my rent and my hand jobs have gone up. This is not okay.
No, it's actually really not okay.
And bacon, rent, and hand jobs have gone up in price.
What's bacon
and I want to know what Joe Biden's gonna do about it.
Joe Biden, you said Kamala Harris said we did it, Joe. But what did you do? Raise the price of bacon?
What'd you do, Kamala? Put a bunch of sex workers in prison?
Exactly. She's so fucking funny to me. Honestly, one thing about that lady, she's always gonna have a crisp silk press when she gets up on that podium to do her speech. She's a Libra. I believe she's a Libra, and Joe Biden is a Scorpio.
Those are words to me.
So Scorpios, okay. Scorpios are water signs. Or water signs are very emotional people, right? Just in general. But Scorpios are emotional and nobody understands me. I'm brooding. And also they love revenge. They're very vengeful people. They love to get their comeuppance. Examples of Scorpio men: Drake. We have Future, Diddy, Joe Biden, Leonardo DiCaprio, Tyga, Bill Gates, French Montana. Terrible track record. None of these men are getting on my roster anytime soon.
Okay.
So, also, too, another thing about Scorpios is that Scorpios can fuck. I've been dickmatized by Scorpios before. I have 2 exes. Oh, my God. And, if I could fuck them one last time, that would be my last meal on death row. Is fucking my 2 Scorpio exes. Because, they were terrible men. Don't get me wrong, but, I was so dickmatized. And I'd be like, oh, my God, no, it's, totally fine. Sebastian's, just, having a rough day.
But this is a semi-real question where how do you square, when you're dickmatized, fucking dudes are not good dudes or haven't been good to you dudes that you still will do it?
Well, I think it depends on what I'm trying to get out of them. I think honestly, now I'm at this point in my life where if I'm not receiving something for sex, I don't want to do it. And that thing doesn't have to be, it doesn't have to be for work, right? But if I'm not getting money or emotional connection, or if I know that your dick came with the Yelp reviews and it's 5 stars, right? I know I'm going to have some fun. You just once a year, I want some dick I'll never see again. You go to the club and you just want some strange. And then I'm like, I never want you to text me. I just want something foreign. Honestly, if it's not any one of those scenarios, why are you fucking me? I don't even care like what kind of person you are, because like I honestly think that like you're gonna be the villain in somebody's story.
Okay.
So I kind of just don't care. Like you're probably a bad person to somebody, but a really good person to somebody else. You know?
It's interesting because I feel like if someone's like super disrespectful to me, it will be like difficult for me to engage and connect enough to like like I don't think I'm.
Oh yeah, if they're bad to me.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Is like you said these like two exes who like weren't like good dudes.
Okay, I see what you
so
mean.
it's how do you square?
Oh, it's because
going
they were
back
like
for it?
they were just so inconsistent that I like honestly just ignored the bad stuff.
Okay.
It was like they were consistently bad. You know when you like try to, you know that saying where like if you put a frog in boiling water, it'll jump right out.
Right.
But if you like put the frog in cold water and then you boil it, it'll die. Right. They were not the boiling water. Like I didn't immediately notice how fucking insane they were. But then they'd be insane, and then the sex would be insane, and I'd be like, okay. And then like we'd have fun, it'd be a good day, and then they'd be insane, and then I'd be insane, and then we'd fuck, and you know. So I think because it was just so messy, I couldn't like my 24, 22-year-old mind like couldn't parse out that this isn't the only good dick in existence.
Yeah.
Yeah. And now I'm just so blessed that I've had so much good dick. Don't get me wrong. I've had a lot of bad dick.
I bet with
so much.
At 500 plus.
Yeah, my body count is 500 plus.
I would imagine that some are good, some are bad.
Some are good, some are bad. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, the biggest dick I've ever dated was some of the worst sex I've ever had. He was half Asian, and Asian dad, white mom. And I always say a white mom biracial. I don't trust a white mom biracial, but we'll get into that. And he had a massive, massive fucking dick, just thick, long, and he would kind of just put it in and then just jiggle it around, similar to like how you like jiggle a key that's stuck in a lock. He wouldn't go like in and out. He would just go, you know.
Was he like taking his hand and doing that?
No, actually, even worse with his body. That's how.
But like,
he fucked.
how I can't imagine like being able to vibrate my body in just the right way to make my dick do that.
Like I couldn't either, and then he did it, and I was like, oh.
Okay.
Yeah, and I was like, you have to go like in and out, right? And he was like, well, I've like heard before that like when I do that, like it hurts. And I was like, right, but I'm telling you that like nobody likes this.
Sure, nobody likes this, but like we're glad you're being conscientious because that's the complaint about big dicks I hear is that they don't understand how to use what they have.
Yeah.
To the point that someone would be like, I'd rather just not with the big dick if you can't use it properly.
Yeah, and I'm not a size queen at all. I mean, I think, having had 500 bodies, and I stopped counting after like 250, but I think if I were to estimate it, right, it would be about 500. I really do think that I'm not a size queen. Like, trust me, like there's some dicks and I'm like, oh wow, it like looks nice and thick. And there's other dicks where I'm just like, it's fine. Some of the best dicks I've had has been with like a 6.5 incher, you know? But yeah, I don't trust
what I've heard called boyfriend dick.
I love boyfriend dick. Oh, I actually, prefer another type of dick called what I call Goldilocks dick, right?
What's Goldilocks dick?
Goldilocks dick is a dick that is not quite a boyfriend dick because it's too big to be a boyfriend dick.
Okay.
But it's too small to be considered a massive dick.
So like a 7, 8?
Just right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's where the sweet spot is for me. Yeah. Yeah. But I don't trust white mom biracial, speaking of that.
You say you don't trust white mom biracial?
Okay. I don't. Because I feel like it's just like you end up like having like a white girl is like raising this like brown child with the mindset of a white girl, and it just doesn't work. You end up with like people like Drake and Doja Cat and Eric Andre and Obama, a war criminal.
Eric Andre's a war criminal?
No, he might as well be. Did you see that movie where
what
he was
did he
fucking
do?
the gorilla?
What
ever saw
did
that movie?
Eric Andre do? No, I didn't.
I just think he's like kind of messy and kind of weird. He has
I mean,
a weird
he is
vibe.
messy and weird. I think he'd tell you that, but I think that's. But I think he's like nice guy messy. I don't think there's like. I haven't heard whispers in the comedy community of like.
No.
I just hear he's weird and he puts his dick on the internet and he's like funny and like an oddball, but I've never heard him be like evil oddball.
No, I don't think he's evil. I just don't think he has like a vibe that I would enjoy being in the vicinity of. Sure. Neither does Drake. I would like to study Drake in a lab.
Well, see, that's the thing. Drake has those kinds of whispers.
He does. He does. And then Doja Cat's kind of weird. Obama's just. I feel like he's just kind of a war criminal, and he's a little selfish because what do you mean that like Michelle had to take a backseat on her dreams? And like,
okay, but did you see the video where he drained a 3-pointer?
I did.
I'm just saying.
I'm trying to figure out
that's my president.
You know what? What?
I want my war criminal presidents to be able to sink it. That's just what.
Honestly,
wet.
and
That's what
I
want.
love it when my war criminal presidents have the sickest songs on their year-end playlist every year. Like, what Charlie XCX song do you think will be on Obama's 2024 playlist?
Let me put it this way. Spotify has been out primarily with Obama, Trump, and Biden, and only one of those presidents knows how to make a Spotify playlist.
That is so true. Okay, what do you think would be on Biden's Spotify playlist?
God.
Any song. Doesn't have to be a this year song.
Trust me, it won't be any this year song. The man doesn't. It's going to be a lot of old stuff with like one random like Nelly song from 2008.
Yeah,
where
and
he
then
was
he
like,
also-
I remember we moved our shoulders to it.
Yeah, right. Also, honestly, I feel like Trump would love listening to like NLE Choppa. He would love that. I feel like he would love Lil Baby.
I don't know if we're feeling this right now just because it's the day after the debate or not, but
No, that's exactly what I'm thinking about. I also think like I think he wouldn't know Central C, but I think Biden would have heard Central C playing in Hunter's car, but he wouldn't like know who he is.
like he doesn't know the name of the song, but he's
No.
like, whatever that song was, that
Right.
was nice.
Exactly. He'll be like, "Oh, what's that song? You know, we can go band for band. We can go L for L, you know, something like that."
Wait,
Yeah.
so you said white mom biracial, don't trust it.
I do not trust
But
him.
you've also said, in the piece that I read,
Mm-hmm.
a friend of yours told you, don't never trust a white man with lips.
Yeah, he said that. And you know what? I actually was fucking a white guy with lips. He's
Have you fucked a white guy without lips?
too many. So many.
Wait, I thought that just meant to mean all white men. Are we talking about white men with like bigger lips?
Bigger lips, yeah.
Oh,
bigger lips. I mean, like
okay.
a white guy who like has lips, like, and they're big.
Where do my lips like go on the spectrum?
I say you're like a soft medium. Oh wait, I'm
Okay.
trying to get my phone out of because I want to show you.
Okay.
You can't react. So this is the white guy with lips that I used to
I
fuck
can't
for a
react
while.
on this audio medium.
You can
So
react.
you're
but,
gonna
like,
get
okay.
a silent reaction from me, everybody.
Yeah, he looks like he drinks. He looks like he drinks Mountain Dew, full sugar, no diet.
Oh God. Okay.
Yeah. But this man could put it down.
Is this the white? Oh, this
Look at his lips; they're huge.
Right, but I was gonna say, so is he biracial? Like, I mean,
No, he's not. He's just a white boy with lips.
Just a white boy with big
actually, I
lips.
slid into his DMs. I was like, "That's the best lower lip BBL I've ever seen in my
Okay.
life," and he got back to me and he was like, "It's actually all natural, baby," and I was like, "Prove it." And then he came over and it was history.
So why don't we trust white men with big lips?
Oh, because they're always up to something. There's no way you're out here looking like that and you're not up to something. Because that man fucked like a maniac. Like, I honestly was so feral for him, like, to the point where, like, I had to text him. And I was like, hey, like, if I'm being too feral for you, like, you can tell me that, like, I'm coming on too strong.
What does being feral mean?
It means that, like, I turn into the Tasmanian devil when I even think about fucking him.
Okay.
Yeah. Like, literally, God, I'm getting excited just even thinking about it. But he was, like, one of those,
Let me
like,
just
really...
go grab a towel for the couch.
Right, exactly. I might just like combust into like a big puddle of squirt. He was one of those like really quiet stoner guys, right? But then he would just come over and like beat my shit up, and then afterwards be like, "So, how's your week?" And I was like, "Oh my god, that's so cute." Yeah, I'm not usually into when people spin my mouth, but for some reason when he did it, I was very into it. So into it. I'm a very, very like. I think like my friends and other people who maybe don't know me as well would describe me as like kind of like, a girl boss. I am a mainstream performer. I do my own content like with OnlyFans, like the pay sites. I write. You said you read some of my writing.
Right.
I'm working on something for Cosmo right now, actually. I have my event series, The Lust Files. I have, this startup that I've been trying to grow. I, do podcasts and stuff. I do a lot. Because I'm such a boss bitch, there's like nothing hotter to me than like a guy who can genuinely get me to submit. It's like you've like tamed the beast, like you've chained the dragon, and it's so hot. And he was able to do that, and now he's dating a streamer. So
Is that supposed to be a dig? Like it's dating a fucking streamer?
no. She's actually hot as fuck. She's like insanely hot. Yeah. Yeah. She's like ridiculously hot. And lives in Miami. She's like half Nigerian, half Italian, or something like that. Gorgeous girl.
If you were to like zoom out, look at your 500 bodies,
Yeah.
what are certain trends you would notice?
That they all look like they're gonna waste my time. Yeah. That's my type. Like my type is like a dude who looks like he's never finished a book. Like, dude, like if you.
As I go, like, can I get a cloak to just cover all
I
these
know, all
fucking
of your
bookshelves?
books. Oh my god, are these books fucking color coded?
Yeah.
Whoa.
It looks better.
It does. I just noticed. Yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah,
Wow.
that one too.
So basically, we're never gonna fuck. If you look like any pencil you used in middle school, you found in the hallway, I am so obsessed with you. Like Jack Harlow is so hot to me. Actually,
What do you think that's about?
I think it's just like that type of guy. Like always needs my help. And then I become somebody who can like be submissive. And I'm like, oh, do you need anybody to help you organize
Do you
your
need someone to
binders?
define that word for you?
Yeah.
Because I paid attention in school. So
Or
I
like,
can-
you know, like the kind of guy who like would text you and be like, hey, Addis, like, you know, do you have the chemistry notes? And I'm like, oh my God, Brandon, you didn't take notes? Haha, like, that's crazy. Yeah, I've got the notes. Do you want to like meet up in study hall and like we can like go over it together? Cool, yeah. That is my, that is like the making of like a Wattpad story I could have written in high school.
You were just looking for a man who misuses there, and there.
Yeah, it's like a dude who cannot spell the word exercise. It's my type. Like, unfortunately. And yeah, I honestly, genuinely am like, that's like my guy type. I identify as queer. So, and I say queer because like, you know, it could be any person, anyone. The type of girl that I like is definitely more mask. Yeah.
But also like kind of a dumb mask.
No. I actually like a really smart mask girl.
Okay.
Like dumb women like freak me out. I'm just like, how did you last this long? You're kind of like a fish that's just like somehow ended up in saltwater, but you're a freshwater fish. You should have died.
It's like that character in the movie where we're like, how are you only the fourth person who died in this horror movie?
No, exactly. That's how I feel about really dumb women. I'm like, nobody's hit you with a train yet by accident.
Fuck.
Like just a girl who's like, oh my God, the wind, and then they're just like their head gets blown off by the L train. You know, that's kind of what I think. Like about dumb women, but like, you know, like a girl who could like fix my tires if I knew how to drive, right? Like
She could change your tire.
Oh, right. Thank you.
I know. I'm not being dumb enough. I should have played along with
like,
that.
No, like clearly I do not know how to drive because I said fix my tire. I never learned how to drive, the boarding school thing. I never did driver's ed. And then when I went to college, all my friends had cars. And when I moved back to New York, I pretty much just like walk or Uber, take the subway everywhere.
Right.
I don't take the bus really, and I don't city bike because why would I arrive anywhere sweaty?
Yeah.
I once was going to go on a date with this guy who was a friend. We went to art camp together. Now he's like a really big photographer.
Art camp?
Yeah, I went to art camp when I was younger. And we were going to go on a date. And then he ghosted me, like just stood me up. I'd never been stood up before. Like I got there and we were texting all day and then he just never showed up. I did happen to run into him at China Chalet, like maybe like a year or so later, and he gave me like a shoddy apology. But, and then I was like, you know what? I look really great. I'm just going to go to the club. So I texted one of my promoters and I was like, hey. And he was like, yeah, sure, come through. So I go in like I'm wearing like a floor length, like glittery dress and a fur coat. I look sick. And I get there and I was trying to order some blow to go to the club because I was like, fuck it. Like I need a fun night. And my
Get down
dealer did not-
DoorDash or
No.
is that like a caviar thing?
I think it would be more of a caviar thing. He didn't respond. I was like, well, fuck this guy. And then I turned around at the fucking table and he's right there. And I was like, oh, so you couldn't answer me. And like, you're going to be here at the club. So of course I'm like, you know, then doing blow at the table with my dealer who had ghosted me. And then he was like, oh, do you want to go back to my place? And I was like, okay, sure. He looked kind of like a homeless French Montana. I'm not going to lie. He was not hot. Then I gave him head in a yellow cab going over the Manhattan Bridge. But yeah, I was just giving him the hawk tua spit on that thing, just like in the back of this yellow cab. Yeah, no, I mean, I used to just like any drug like I've probably done or like thought about doing. Yeah. I'd say most of the drugs I've done except for heroin. But now the newer stuff, I don't have any intention to do 2C. Have you seen that? 2C looks like pink cocaine.
I don't do drugs.
Like what am I like? Why would I do that? What am I, a reggaeton artist? I don't need that. And now because I've just done in my, you know, I guess the past 14 years of just doing drugs or being around them or knowing about them, right? Like I can even just like look at some, you know, bags or vials and be like, I just can tell that's really bad quality. Like just like with my eyeball, which is, you know, it's a blessing and a curse. But yeah, like it's interesting, you know, having been at AVN. So for those of you who are listening, AVN's kind of like the porn Oscars, right? And
X-Biz is more of like the porn Golden Globes.
Yes. And what would be Exotica be? Like the VMAs? At AVN, I was in the social campaign for the awards. Like my face was all over the billboards and the taxis and bus rides. It was really cool. And the parties at AVN were just so insane. And I honestly was just very impressed by some of these people. Like, damn, y'all really got the stamina to sign all day at the convention, to, you know, shoot content and stuff, do other podcasts and media things, go to these parties. Like, you're really go for like 4 days. That's nuts, babe.
Yeah.
But I think that kind of does sometimes like set me apart in the industry. Like, I'll just be at these parties like drinking Sprite. Like, I really don't enjoy drinking. I think the last time I had alcohol was maybe 2020. Yeah. That sounds about right. Yeah.
A lot of us had alcohol in 2020.
Right. A lot of it. I feel like pretty much in 2020, it's either you started like going off the deep end or you just like stopped doing substances, like one or the other.
Yeah. So, you know, at first you start off with doing like in-person sex work. And then did you do online sex work before transition to like porn? Like,
I did.
Were you doing like more content creation, as we call it, I guess?
Yes, I was. So, during lockdown, I was helping a few friends with their OnlyFans. You know, I was popping into a threesome every once in a while if they
just helping out. When you said helping out, I thought you meant like hold the boom mic.
No, if they needed an extra pussy, I'd pop in. Yeah. So I did a couple of those. There's a couple of very, very hard to find threesome videos of me and April Olsen. And my Twitter presence started to grow a little bit more, like over time as I was creating more content and stuff like that. And I was also on TikTok talking about how like being a sugar baby is like putting pussy on layaway. It's like being an escort on a payment plan. Just like making like very funny, you know, sex work TikToks. And somebody reached out to me on Twitter and was like, hey, would you ever consider doing mainstream porn? And I was like, it makes sense why someone would ask me that, you know? And
now, was this like a random someone or someone who like is in the industry who could, you know,
it was
this someone scouting you? Okay.
Yes. And I didn't know who he was, but luckily he had a lot of mutuals with my volunteer friends. So I was able to ask them, like, is this man going to kidnap me? Is he normal? And they're like, oh yeah, he's very normal. And so I was like, why not? And so that's when I started shooting. And I think I shot my first scene in summer 2022. And that was around the same time when I was first pitching my idea for South by Southwest. So I literally remember making content in the same hotel room that I also made the video for my South by Southwest speech pitch. Like, I think it was actually might have been in the same like 48 hour span. Yeah.
Okay. And how was the transition for you from going from, I mean, not that you were stopping anything, but just what was the transition like adding porn to your workload?
Honestly, not too bad. I mean, I feel like it gave me a certain level of appreciation for professionalism within content creation. I think there's a real sense of democracy when you can have anybody make porn. Like, anybody can make an OnlyFans, you know, and start making content.
Literally anyone, everybody.
Literally anyone.
OnlyFans.com/callmebbilly. Okay.
Yeah, I'm glad that lots of different people and bodies are able to monetize off of their sexuality, but also, too, when anyone can become a porn star, that also leaves room for a lot of riffraff, a lot of people who fake tests and people who, you know, think that they don't have to do a full gold panel because they only shoot content with their wife and they're just a stunt cock. Or, you know, people who are really okay with canceling last minute and don't understand, like, when you do a shoot, you should probably have a plan for it. You should probably communicate with your person that you're going to shoot with. You can't just like show up to my house and fuck. It's not a sneaky link. So I'm glad that I was able to shoot mainstream porn and understand how important it is to have regularity and regulation.
And you are dating somebody.
I am.
And the article I did read was about dating as a sex worker, and it was kind of a not so great story. Where'd you meet this current person?
So I actually met him right after I started shooting my first scene. So like summer 2022, I came back from LA, and I had literally one of the worst trips ever. So actually, no, let me back up. It must have been fall 2022 because my first few scenes were actually really good. That trip in particular in the fall was really bad. And I was so exhausted coming back, and I'd just gotten like broken up with by the situationship who was living in LA. It was a really awful breakup. Like, it's really hard to, you know, gaslight me or trick me because my mental is so strong, right? But he really did in a way that like freaked me out so badly. So I was very distrusting of anybody who wanted to date me. And then I was like, you know what, Addis, you're not going to find love. You're not going to find anything if you just like sit in your room and cry and like whatever. Like, get back out there on the horse. Like, love implies risk. And so get back on Hinge and whatever. And this very nice man wanted to take me out on a date. And I was like, oh, fine, he has an accent. Like, sure, I'll go. He's British. Like, sure. So I went out on this date, and he was so nice that I thought it was a trap. I was like, oh, he must be trying to get something out of me. Like, why are you being nice to me for free like that? So I kind of kept him at an arm's length for like a year. But I wanted to be single. I was, discovering who I was as a mainstream adult actress and really coming into myself. And I felt like I was starting to reject a lot more people just because I was like, I would rather be by myself than be with you. But there was never a moment where we weren't in contact with each other. Like I always knew what he was doing. We're texting, voice noting, DMing all the time. And then over time, we started talking a lot more and more. And then I realized that I had really strong feelings for him. And I revealed that at the end of last year when I was on my way to Dallas for a
year into talking to him. That's when you finally, wow.
Yeah, literally.
That's really playing it cool.
Yeah. I had things to do. He was like, wait, like, no way. Like, I thought you wanted to be single. And, like, I knew you were hooking up with Big Lips Guy because he also knows Big Lips Guy.
Oh, the Big Lips Guy.
He knows him.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, well, I don't know. And he was like, well, sounds like there's a lot of big feelings here. And I've been in my head about it, too. I just didn't want to, force you anything. So let's talk about it when you're back from your content trip. And then here I am.
And is he in the industry as well?
No.
And how did tackling the topic of your sex work go from in the beginning?
Well, he knew. That's the thing. Everybody in my life knows.
Well, yeah, but so did the guy that you wrote that piece
good
about, right?
point.
Like he also knew, that just knowing doesn't automatically mean they're gonna be chill about it.
I think there are still times when like it does cause tension in our relationship, but I think because we have gotten to know each other over the course of like coming on 2 years now, right? We have such good communication that it has allowed for other things to be factors in our relationship aside from my work. Yeah. I also think he travels a lot as well for work. So there's times when we can like overlap our work and like both be in LA or both be in New York, both be in London, both be in Miami, like whatever. So it's actually pretty easy to see him. I think it would be harder if one of us was always stationary and the other person was always off gallivanting. But yeah, so it I think is only a point of tension like when anyone feels jealous. Yeah.
Which can happen in any type of relationship.
Exactly.
I mean, jealousy isn't like a bad thing. Monogamous people like feel jealous sometimes.
Exactly.
And they'll be like, well, why are you talking to Cheryl from work? It's like, whatever. Tension isn't a bad thing to have in a relationship. You're going to have to be able to work through tensions in a long-term thing. But what type of tensions do arise? Like when you say jealous, like what's an example situation?
An example situation is like, he asked me a couple months ago, like, how does shooting OnlyFans work? Like, he understands, like, studio porn where, like, you have a scene and a scene partner and there's, like, staff there.
Crew, yeah.
Yes. And so, like, you have a script. But he was like, is shooting OnlyFans, like, do you just shoot with people that you're attracted to? Like, and I was like, no, not necessarily. Like, yes and no. I shoot what I know that I like to shoot and what my fans will like, right? I shoot based on people that I know are good talent and are trustworthy, who's in the area, who I know will make good quality content, right? It's not necessarily about attraction for me, and it's also not just like a bunch of sneaky links, but there are some riffraff who only shoot content that do go into the industry thinking that they're just going to do a bunch of sneaky links, and that's how they operate. So that kind of thing caused tension, or in the times where like I'm like, oh, I do actually have to go and do a private, like I have to go, right?
So is he like sometimes being skeptical of content partners? Is that kind of what's up? Is he trying to ascribe like a value system to shooting with someone in a studio scene versus a independent scene?
I think he's trying to piece together how it all fits. I think that's what it is. And because he's not there, it's
like
hard.
if you shot with someone like independent content like 5 times, like is he trying to be like, should I think that means something?
Exactly. Yeah. And also
so are you all monogamous outside of your work?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Like, I mean, there's people that I like, flirt with, but like I'm not, dating anybody else aside from him. So
sure. Yeah. And how do you work those out?
For example, he took one of his clients to a concert when I was last in London, and I got so jealous because like I know he thinks she's really pretty, but I also know that like he thinks she's really boring. So it does happen to me even, where I'm like, okay, he has to go do this thing for work, and like yes, he's around other attractive people, and like I would have wanted to be a part of that, but I also have to just think about it as like, and this is for any guy who's dating any type of sex worker. When you have the girl that everybody else wants, you can exhale, right? Like, trust me, she could have literally anybody and she's choosing you. There's a reason for that. There's a reason for that. Drop your shoulders.
Yeah. But jealousy, and I think people I think jealousy is like a me emotion. So
Yeah.
it's okay, like, let me make sure I did the conversation internally. Maybe it never needs to be externalized. Maybe I can work it out on my own. But ultimately, like in that situation, like you're jealous of the chick that he brought to the concert. Did you ever have to go then process some of it with him?
Yes,
and
I
if
did.
so, like, how do you approach that conversation in a way that's not, you fucking took Mary to the, like, how do you responsibly, because in any type of relationship, I think a lot of
Yeah.
people struggle with, I feel jealous, I want to talk about the jealousy, and it's hard to do that without making it a, you're doing blank, but rather I'm feeling like this, and I just want to share that.
Yeah, I think there's that saying, it's not you against me, it's us against the problem. And so I
like
am,
that.
yeah, I'm kind of like, well, what is the problem? The problem is that I wanted attention in a certain way and I didn't get it in the moment. So yeah, I was originally supposed to go to the concert with him. He ended up having to take his client, and he was like, I feel really bad. And I was like, why? And he was like, well, because I know you really want to go and I would have loved to take you, but I, saw tonight as more of a work thing. And I was like, you know what? Honestly, I think it would actually be way better if he took time to design a date that he knew I would love, right? Versus like, hey, I got this opportunity. Do you want to just pop in on this, right? Because intentionality means so much to me. And I also had to think about it too, as like, if he wanted to take me, he totally would. Like, I think my intentionality in this relationship is very pre-planned. I'm like, okay, I know that if I want to see him, I have to do A, B, and C, and then I will have time to dedicate to him. So let me pre-plan so that I can make time for fun. His is the opposite, where he's like, oh my God, I totally need to make space for Addis. And then he will drop everything for me, So it's a very different type of intentionality. And I think knowing that people are never usually out to get you. So trying to approach it with like, they're doing their best. And sometimes your best looks like an A and sometimes your best looks like a C minus.
Yeah.
Yeah, relationships to me are both people giving 100% and your 100% looks different at any moment. So, yeah, like even I've had really bad friendships and I still think about those friends that I had. And if anything happened to them, right, I would still be very upset, right? I still love them as people, but they're good stopped overweighing their bad qualities, right? And I think finding somebody that you want to date or even be in a work relationship or anything is just about, does their good overweigh their bad for you? And once the scale starts to tip in the other direction, that's when I reevaluate.
How else does your sex work enter into your relationship, for better or for worse?
Yeah, I mean, the thing about it is that everybody in my life and in his life knows. So it's interesting. He told his mom, like one of the first things that she knew about me was that I do porn. And I was like, why did you tell her so early? Like, not judging you, but just wondering. And he was like, well, I figured she'd find out at some point in the future. And I was like, you see a future with me? Right? I was like, oh. But also, too, he was like, I think his parents and his grandparents would think that it was weird that he hid it from them. They'd be like, are you embarrassed of her? Like, and he told his mom, Kim Kardashian started out as a sex worker and, now she's this business mogul. She has so many things going on, much like Addis, right? I don't think you would be upset if I was dating Kim Kardashian. And his mom was like, great point. So, yeah, apparently she likes me the best out of any of the girls he's ever dated. And I was like, yeah, I know that's right.
I love that.
I know that's right.
I love that.
Yeah. But yeah, like it comes up occasionally. Like his friends will ask me questions and not creepy. And, they'll be like, what is it like to be on set? Just like general questions. Or they'll be like, do you know my favorite porn star? I'm like, I actually do know her. I just saw her last week, So it's I think it goes back to my work of humanizing sex workers, where I just make it very obvious that I'm a normal person. I think that puts people at ease a lot. And it's allowed me to do so many different things. Like I bootstrap all of my ventures myself. I self-fund them, which is not easy as like a regular, schmegular, degular 28-year-old girl from New York City who's a Virgo, right?
What does the Virgo have to do with anything?
Oh, it's just the detail.
I thought you were Libra. No?
No. Oh my God.
Fucking, you said Libra earlier. Okay.
No, I said Kamala Harris was a Libra.
Oh, that's what it was. Okay.
Right. Not too much now. But yeah.
My bad.
So I have the Lust Files, which is my event series. I'm actually having an event tonight at Cutting Room. And I noticed that a lot of the spaces to talk about sex were either just like slapstick comedy, like no shade to Pillow Talk or to Plug Talk, but it was like that, or just like even cheesier, like those like men podcasts,
Those ones, infuriate me.
Yeah.
Because like sometimes I'll be like searching someone to be like, maybe let me listen to an episode or two of them talking to somebody on a plane.
Yeah.
With the porn girls, and they're getting asked all these questions. It sounds like the host wrote while he was jerking off.
No, exactly.
And I'll be like, what? Like, I don't want to ask you about double anal out of the blue.
Yeah.
I want to ask you about double anal when double anal naturally comes up in the conversation.
Exactly. Like that. Those are guys who have negative riz. Like, tell me you've never gotten pussy in your life without telling me. Very obvious. You've never spoken to a woman and or made her come ever.
Yeah. They always talk to, like, it's these like shows where like they have porn stars on all the time, but they always sound like they're just talking to a porn star for the first time ever.
They did not do any research. They literally came in dick swinging, no plan.
Yeah. Their research was only watching the scenes. I've watched I watched like 30 seconds of Sun because I was like, oh, let me check out her Twitter.
Oh, yeah.
And see what words she said. And there was like whatever the one that's by a pool with some dude recently.
Oh my God. Yeah. That one's really good.
Yeah. So like I saw 30 seconds of that, but like I don't usually do my research with lube out, you know?
Yeah, no, exactly. That scene is honestly, so that scene was for Reality Kings, and that was shot with Derek Savage. Okay. Some of my best work. Oh my God. That I literally was looking at it, I was like, damn, you really do this, huh? So if you're listening, I definitely suggest go watching that one. But yeah, like I've noticed that a lot of the spaces to talk about sex were either like that, or they were about trauma and healing, or they were about like just purely instructional tactics, like how to squirt, how to prep for anal, how to blah, blah, blah. And I was like, where's the, space to talk about sex in a more like interesting, curiously empathetic way? Like where are the spaces to talk about sex in a very elevated, but fun, interesting, funny way? I don't know. So I made it. And so the Lust Files is a live event series where we have, discussions with all kinds of folks. So we had an event all about orgasms that had a panelist of just all-stars, like Joanna Angel, who is an AVN Hall of Famer. She kind of pioneered the genre of like very tattooed girls being porn stars, right?
Yeah.
Then we also had Dr. Evan Goldstein, who's very well known in the gay men's community. He does this procedure called hole talks, where you can get Botox put in your asshole so that you can bottom easier, right? And a lot of people do it. Yeah, because the thing is, like, why anal hurts so much for some people is because they get nervous and they tense up, right?
I love being updated about the technology.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we had, like, literally, it's like, imagine, like, Dr. Goldstein, who's, like, medical
Botox
legend. Joanna Angel, who's a porn legend. We also have my now co-host, who is just, like, a sex educator legend. Her name is Catherine Drisdale. And she is a multi-orgasmic coach and a sex educator. Her record for most consecutive orgasms in a marathon session. I want you to guess. Guess.
200.
Shut the fuck up. It was 72.
I don't fucking know.
But still.
You built it up to be so big, so I was like, let me
Okay, but have you ever had 72 orgasms?
Because if I said 72, you would go like, hiya, bitch.
Oh my God.
So
I know, right?
So
yeah, like, we have, a panel of people talking all about orgasms. One is the expert on, multiplicity. The other one's the expert on performance. The other person's like more of a medical expert, right? So that's why I like to curate my panels. We also have had one all about BDSM and kink, where we had two doms and one of their subs on stage with us to talk about the BDSM community. So it's a good way to just like be around some like-minded folks, be around some different-minded folks, get out and, really start to talk about sex and do so in a way that's just outside of your own head or your own bedroom.
Okay. So I have a patron-only channel in my Discord server where Patreon members can ask any question they want to you. So if it's a bad question, it wasn't my idea. If it's a good question, I wish it was mine. The first one comes from Precious Bodily Fluids, who has my favorite username in the server.
Yeah.
Precious Bodily Fluids. He asks, in a political and legal climate that is increasingly hostile to sex work, and for that matter, porn, how can people safely seek out sex workers?
I would say that if you are looking to see, I'm assuming they mean an in-person sex worker, do your research on the person. The number of men I hear or see online that are like, oh, I tried to book an escort and, she scammed me out of my deposit. Think critically. If, let's say the person's rate is $800, why would they be scamming you out of $100, right? Like, that person is probably not a real sex worker, and you should have looked at their social media, looked at if they have an OnlyFans.
Do they have a website?
Do they have a website, right? Like, instead of just being like, oh, her pics are hot, right? If they look like they were taken like on Snapchat with the flower crown filter, that's probably not a real person. So I would say, like, do your due diligence, but also understand that, like, sometimes the questions that you may want to ask a sex worker could be easily Googled. Remember, Google is free. So like if you're taking up too much space in that person's day and not booking, be mindful of when you've overstayed. So I would say like come research, come prepared, and don't waste their time. Be very serious, because like the number of people who just text me just to text and like get off to the fact that I'm responding is way too many.
Or don't ask questions that are right there on the website.
Yeah, exactly.
Like there's sometimes they'll have a Q&A section.
Yes.
And it's there for a reason.
Exactly. So I would definitely suggest, doing your due diligence, and also just like being honest with what you're looking for. You know, if you're running late, communicate that clearly. If you'd like to, maybe extend your session, also communicate that clearly. If you have like, a certain thing that you'd like to explore, that is the perfect person to ask.
Yeah. But, and I think those are great tips for etiquette for seeking out sex workers. But I think he's talking a little bit more about
like where to go
from the client side, how to safely seek out a sex worker, while it seems like there might be a lot more like criminalization going on, or depending on the political climate, the legal climate. So I think he's going about how do I go out there and like not accidentally get arrested?
Well, I think, that goes back to doing your due diligence, right? And being like, is it obvious that this person is who they say they are, right? I would say also
the social media presence, I think, is a great example of that.
The website. Do they have any
the
media
FBI
clips?
is not creating 50,000 tweets for
They are not.
For a fake sex
No,
worker.
they are not converting like their old, high school football Twitter into a fake porn star girl's Twitter to trick you, right? Out of your deposit of like 10% of what the entire rate is. So, I would say that, but also too, like, whatever that provider's screening process is, it's there for a reason. Comply with it, because it is way more dangerous for the sex worker to be with you than the other way around.
Sure. Absolutely true. I do think it is a fair concern for like a potential client to have, to be like, well, I just don't want to accidentally get arrested. Sometimes we see these roundups that go on and they do these sting operations. And so, I think especially my listeners know about how dangerous it is to do sex work and all of the risks that are around there. But, I think there's like this like practical concern of like, well, how do I go, especially with certain services and places being gone, Backpage being gone, Credits Personal. I don't think everyone knows about like Tryst, right, for example. So it's like, I wouldn't know how to go search for it now because the ways I used to find it are gone.
Sure. I would also suggest like Twitter is a great place to find anything. I would suggest looking on Twitter.
Is there like, do people search a certain hashtag? Like, how could people search that out more? Should they like search like Fly Me to You, or are there other like keywords?
I would say that, or search, like I think you could actually probably through a rabbit hole of searching very obvious keywords like escort New York City, dominatrix New York City, right? Like that you could find people. I think even just people who talk about what they do for work, let's say on like a Business Insider or, on People Magazine, right? You find a person who's profiled, go to their Twitter, you then look through their mutuals, right? And then you've now opened up an entire rabbit hole of providers that you can search through.
And if it looks super fresh, it looks too good to be true, but not enough information, you know what, buddy? Put your dick down, put the wallet away. That one may not be real.
Exactly.
I'm also throwing this one out there. I know that like when you probably are seeking out like sex work is probably like when you're really horny, but it's like, don't do that research that we're telling you to do when your dick's in your hand.
Yeah, great point.
Like you can maybe start, you can maybe open a bunch of tabs, but don't really take any of it serious. Then minimize it.
Yeah.
Then go back and do the research part.
Correct.
Yeah. Otherwise, you're going to make up excuses to be like, no, that's probably real for this reason. Right. Yeah. And this one's not sex work related at all. I love it. This one comes from Steph She just asks, what's an unexpected thing that's made you really laugh?
Ooh, that's a great question.
Besides Billy, because I know we all didn't expect for him to make me laugh.
I would say, besides Billy, there is actually, I follow a lot of mommy bloggers because I love kids. And there's this one little boy who was 2 and he was playing with his drums and he just was on beat really well and did like an old McDonald remix that had me dying. I was like, this kid's a musical genius because he did not lose the beat once. And that had me sent to the moon. I loved it.
Do you follow the dad DJ who remixes like...
Oh, I've seen that.
The wheels on the bus go round and round, round and round. I played that for my little niece and she said, that's not the real one.
Ooh.
I was like, oh, sassy. Okay.
Right. She kind of ate you up there. She kind of ate you up. But yeah, also, even just to go back to the other question, I just thought of something.
Sure.
So there's a portion on my ad that I have where you can ask for a verification photo of me, and it's literally just like me holding up like a pencil or the peace sign, something very PG for $5, just for your peace of mind if you're that nervous.
Yeah.
I also offer a quick 5-minute clothed video call, just so you also can know that I am a real person as well. So I do offer those as just like hey, if you really need to do this, sure, that's an option, but also too like there's more than enough information to see that I am a real person.
Sure, yeah, absolutely for you, yeah. There's other providers who probably try to be more low key and.
That was just me plugging myself.
No, please. Oh, absolutely, no. You will be be plugging away, but no, I think that's also a great if they offer. Is that common to offer like some sort of verification thing?
I've seen it. I wouldn't say it's common, but it's also not uncommon.
Would it be like completely rude to like offer a moderate amount of like I don't know how much you charge for the 5-minute thing, but like $20-$40 to say like, hey, just like, can we just have a 5-minute clothed call? So whatever.
Yes, I think that
common?
I think honestly, like any rule of thumb is like if it's outside of what like is on their list of things that they offer, always suggest a tip in exchange for their extra time. So
and also one last thing I'll say is if they want you to pay them in iTunes gift cards, it is fake.
It is definitely fake.
It is 100% fake.
Yes.
Do not take an Uber to Brighton Beach. You'll be really upset about it. And then you're going to like complain on your podcast for 20 minutes.
Yep.
So don't do that.
Don't do that.
It won't be a thing. I didn't buy them.
Oh, you didn't?
But I didn't know that was a step that was going to be taken until I got out there. The whole thing. It was years back.
Oh my God. Wait.
Because when I got there, then it was like, okay, I'm at the address. And it was like, okay, go across the street to CVS and get 200. I was like, no.
That's when the light bulb went off.
I was like, I literally asked you before I got the car. I'm not going to show up and you're going to ask me for compensation, right? And she's like, no. And she did some verification fucking video pictures. And then when I got there, it was like, okay, now go get the gift cards. I'm like, what the fuck?
Oh, yikes.
Anyways, and if you want to know what the gift card scam is about, you can Google it. There apparently is a thing that they do.
Interesting.
I was confused though at the time. I was like, what are you going to get from it?
Yeah.
You just want to buy a bunch of albums? Anyways.
Interesting.
So that's the thing. Addis.
Yes.
You could say no. Do you have like an extra like 10-ish minutes?
Sure.
I thought maybe I'd ask you a little bit more about OnlyFans shooting, like independent content shooting, your preferences on that.
Okay.
Because you mentioned like there was a little bit of difference between the studio shoots you do and how you do the solo stuff. But for now, where can people go to find you, follow you, and check out your work?
You can find me at Addis Fouche. So literally just my name, ADDIS. FOUCHE on Instagram, same handle on Twitter, same handle on TikTok. And, my OnlyFans is, OnlyFans.com/Addis Fouche, as is my website, AddisFouche.com, where you can see all of the articles I've written. You can, send me an email if you have any further questions. And also you can just kind of get my vibe. I make it very easy to find me.
Fantastic. And I'm looking forward to checking out the Lust Files tonight. Shout out to Lainey for that invite. And, Patreon people, you're going to hear more of me and Az tomorrow. But for now, why don't you go ahead and say goodbye to everybody.
Bye. See you later.
Addis Fouche, everybody. The best place to discuss this week's show is in the episode discussion channel in our Discord server, The Champagne Room. You can also email me your thoughts directly to manwhorepod@gmail.com. The next... Oh, fuck, I gotta get water. Get it. Oh, I just doused the hot movie night. Not that one, right? We all agree that one was corny. Yeah, no, I get it. But the next hot movie night is going to be Tuesday, July 16th. At 9:15 p.m. Eastern Time. The movie will soon be announced on Patreon, but you got to be a member and you got to be in the Champagne Room to join us for that. Become a member today. Enjoy Addis's bonus episode coming out tomorrow. Feel good about paying for independent content at patreon.com/manwhorepodcast or download the Patreon app and find me on there. Please rate and review the show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, 5 stars. If the rating is not 5 stars, no need to leave the rating, okay? Entertainment is not the meritocracy it pretends it wants everyone to think it is. It is just me saying, hey, give it 5 stars or don't leave it at all. And if you care to write an honest review, go do it. Unless it's a bad review, then just email me. I'll take the feedback, but we don't have to put me on blast. Come on now. You know what? You know what you can do right now? If you know people in New York City, send them the link to the Naked Comedy Show. It's at the top of the notes. Send your friends over if you can't come yourself. And if you can't come yourself, you're probably just stressed out and just need to take some deep breaths and take the pressure off of yourself to, okay, this is silly, but I'm going to leave it there. I'll be back from LA, hopefully a little fresher. Stay slutty.